Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I am Barry P. Cook, and we're here to talk about the third episode of season 2 of Batwoman entitled Batgirl Magic. What's the basic plot of this episode? Well, again, it continues from last week where, everybody's wondering where Kate is and if she's going to come back, and Alice is doing whatever it is that Alice is doing, which even after this episode, I'm not quite clear on what that is. But the great thing about this episode is that we got a villain other than Alice for the pretty much duration of the episode in the form of Victor Zsasz, the brutal killer from DC Comics who marks his kills on his own body with like a razor or a knife. And, we got to see how the new Batwoman took on that threat. That's pretty much the synopsis. So let me tell you what I wrote down. It opened with Zsasz killing a couple quite brutally. So I wrote down, well, that was brutal. I literally wrote down Zsasz, finally an arch villain besides Alice, which I just said a second ago, but I wanted to let you know that I wrote that down right away because I just was so excited by that. So the next kind of thing that I made a note of is that Ryan Wilder is kind of funny in the bat suit when she's kind of floundering around in it because she's not used to using it, and it doesn't quite fit, as she notes, when she tries to pull off a superhero landing and it doesn't quite work. She kind of stumbles a little bit. Then something that I thought was kind of weird is she's, fighting, I guess, if I remember correctly, it was Zsasz. And she was, it wasn't Zsasz. She's fighting some guys, and she was out of batarangs. And she says, Luke, what do I do next? I'm out of batarangs. And I was like, well, we use code names, Ryan. We don't say the actual names over the comms out loud where the villains can hear us, because then they can figure out who we are with a little bit of extrapolation. We use code names. So I don't know what Luke's code name is, but he needs to come up with one. Then there's a scene, there were a couple of scenes in this episode of, the police headquarters there, what are they called? The Crows headquarters. And, Alice's dad is basically walking around reading different assessments that are being handed to him, and he's sort of barking out orders. And they mention how they're looking into some neurotoxin that they found at a crime scene or whatever, and how it belongs to Scarecrow, or how it came from Scarecrow. So they mentioned Scarecrow, which is awesome. I don't know if we'll get to see him. That would be awesome. But the fact they mentioned him is cool, because if I'm remembering last season correctly, there wasn't a whole lot of, immersion into the DC universe. They didn't do a lot to sort of remind you that you're in, Gotham. And throwing in things like that is great. Of course, it would be better if we actually end up seeing him. But, that might be asking for too much. I was happy just to hear his name mentioned. I think it gives the show tiny bit of credibility, but unfortunately we got right back to dealing with Alice after that, and I was like, yawn. Don't get me wrong, the actress who plays the part does a really good job, but the character is so boring. They may be going somewhere with this. It turns out by the end of the episode, we'll get into that in a minute. We go back again to Zsasz, and he's just out of his mind. He infiltrates this tech lab, because he's looking for a list of names of people who got the antitoxin in the bat attack the previous week, because apparently their blood now contains curative properties that come from a rare flower. And so he's trying to get that, and he just brutally kills this guy, blows his head off, shoots him right in the head. Just no mercy, and it was just crazy, and I loved it. One thing I want to say too is that in these past couple of episodes, I've really noticed how gorgeous Javicia Leslie is. I did not like the pictures that came out of her in the bat suit initially. I didn't think it looked good on her. I didn't think she was attractive. Again, terrible thing to say, but that's just the truth. And in these last two episodes, especially when she's out of the bat suit, you can just see how gorgeous of a woman she is. And I just thought I would make note of that. One of the scenes that you get to see her out of the suit in is a scene where she goes and sort of tries to make a deal with Zsasz, because apparently from her time in prison, she kind of knows about him and sort of knows of him, and he kind of knows of her through other people that he knows. So she had a little bit of a connection. So she went to see him as Ryan, and this was after confronting him, and as Batwoman previously. And I was a little surprised that he wasn't putting two and two together that she's Batwoman, because I don't know, her voice, the bottom of her face, like he had only seen her like a day before and they talked. So like, how would you not? I don't know. Same height. I don't know. But her hair was different, of course, because of the Kate's wig. But I was like, come on. I'm a little dubious. But anyway, it's a TV show. Okay, now finally we got to a place where Mary finally says out loud, Kate's not coming back. And I thought they had a great I thought this was a great sequence because, up to this point, I kept saying, why do they keep, saying when she comes back, when she's come back? And this was them coming to grips with the fact, or Mary anyway, coming to grips with the fact that she's not going to come back. And it was a little, she was a little tearful over it. And I thought it was very genuine. I thought it worked for the character. But what came right after this was an exchange that I thought was really cool. And sort of made these characters real for me, like they hadn't been before. Luke reacts to her telling him this by saying, what are you talking about? Why are you giving up? You're the one who looked me straight in the eye and told me that miracles happen. And she replies, well, the truth is, so do tragedies. And the world is not perfect, life is not perfect, but we have to have hope. We have to have faith in Ryan as the new Batwoman, even though she is also not perfect. So I just thought it was a great scene, because up to this point, he's kind of been like begrudgingly allowing her to fill in and not embracing it. And you can't blame the guy. Not everybody, is going to deal with loss the same way. So he was a little bit behind Mary in sort of accepting it. At least she accepted it more than he did up to this point. But he's finally like, okay, yeah, I get it. I have to give in. So, and accept her as Kate's permanent replacement. Something that came up really quick that, it's a throwaway line that kind of bugged me, but, you got to let some things go if you're going to enjoy TV. Ryan's about to suit up and go back out as Batwoman when something comes up. And she says, oh, by the way, don't get mad, but I altered the suit a little bit, because it wasn't fitting her right, so and so forth. How did she alter it? I mean, this is something that Luke Fox and, I presumably Wayne Industries worked on to create and then worked on again to alter for Kate, and she just did it by herself. It goes back to where they said, Hush was trying to get the suit from Ryan so he could become Batman. Well, how was he going to alter it? Just take it to a local tailor? Like, what did Ryan do? Go in the back and put it under a singer, and just make some alterations? It's just stupid. They should have, dealt with the suit being updated a little bit better instead of just a throwaway line like that, where Ryan says she altered the bat suit, because it's kind of stupid. So the situation that came up was Zsasz was trying to, I guess, kill Mary. He was chasing her. And while this is happening, he's like, stop running. You don't know how this works. How this works is first I make you bleed, then I make me bleed. And I thought that was a great line. And it sums up what he does. He kills people, they bleed, then he cuts himself to mark the kill, and he bleeds. So I thought it was a cool line, and it just makes him very creepy. But Ryan eventually catches up with him, and they fight, and he has her pinned down. He's got like a knife to her throat, I guess, if I'm remembering correctly, or he's got a gun, I can't remember. But she just pulls out her, like martial arts stick, which she had used or wielded against him earlier in the episode, which opens by the press of a button, and it does a spring open kind of thing, and she put it next to his head and just opened it, and it knocked his ass out. And I thought it was very cool when she did that. But then we get another scene with Alice, and while all this stuff is going on, Alice is on an island with Sophia, and Sophia's pissed at her because she stole the flower, and the Kate's ex is there, and it's just I don't know what's all going to come of that. But part of what happened there is that Sophia led Alice to believe that she's holding Kate, that Kate's still alive, that she has Kate, and she's holding her. And she basically convinced Alice that if she does Sophia's dirty work, she'll give her Kate back. But we know this isn't going to happen. So I don't know why they're doing this. Why are they playing at this? The producers, the writers, why are they doing this? I guess it's to give Alice something to do, a motivation to do it. I don't know, but we know she's not coming back. So I don't know, that kind of aggravated me. We'll have to see what they do with it, and hopefully it's not terribly lame. But there was another one of those scenes with Alice's dad, Kate's dad, where he's talking about different criminal goings on in the city, and he mentions Black Mask, which was awesome. And then he has a scene with Mary where is it Mary? No, it's not Mary. It's Kate's ex. She comes in and says that she has information about Kate because Alice told her that Sophia told her that Kate's still alive. But before she can say this to Kate's dad, he has been looking through her phone, and he comes across a painting, and it says Sophia like written over the picture. And before she can say anything, he says, "Why would Kate have been interested in a painting by Jack Napier?" Jack Napier, which is a name that has been linked to the Joker in some versions of the comics and Batman films. Joker has various origin stories, but one of them is that he was originally named, that his real name is Jack Napier. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if it means we're going to see the Joker, because I don't think they've said anything about him up to this point on the series, or if it's just an Easter egg they're throwing in, but they needed a name and they threw that in. We don't know, but it'll be cool to see what they do, if anything, with that name Jack Napier and the character Jack Napier, which, like I said, in a lot of the DC verse is actually the Joker. That's pretty much all that happens in the episode. But it's 2 episodes now, I think, where they haven't dealt with the fact that Ryan is kryptonite poisoned. She got shot at the end of episode 1, I think it was. And all of episode 2, they didn't mention it, or she got shot at the end of episode 2, I don't remember. But somewhere along the line, she got shot with a kryptonite bullet, and it didn't come up at all. So I don't know what's going on there. Are they going to just bring it up later? Are they just not going to bring it up at all? It'd be pretty lame if they don't bring it up at all after they showed it. Not that I really want to see a plot about her being poisoned by a kryptonite bullet, but they made a point to show that she was sort of poisoned by a kryptonite bullet, and then they haven't mentioned it. So I don't know. I hope they do that just for the integrity of the story, and maybe they can deal with it quickly and it won't drag on and be stupid. But that's really it, as far as particular details of this episode that I want to talk about. I do think this season is a lot better than season 1 so far. I'm really liking Ryan Wilder. She's much more versatile, I think, than Kate was because of her background. And her perspective is different, on everything. And she's a different personality. She's funny. She's goofy in different ways, but she's also brave and smart and has a lot of heart. So it's really great. I love Ruby Rose, and I was excited for the Kate Kane character before Batwoman, came on TV, but she was just really lame, the Batwoman of season 1, I thought. And Kate Kane was kind of lame. I really like Ryan Wilder, and I didn't think I would, but here I am liking it. And as I've been saying, the show is not perfect. There were a couple of things in this episode that made me go, "What?" And there are a couple of things in this episode that, trouble me in terms of narrative that I hope they don't, do too much with, and that I hope they wrap up and don't sort of labor over. Um, but I'm really liking this season so far, and I'm looking forward to next week. But that's all I have to say. So I'm going to take off. I'll be back for my review of the next episode of WandaVision, if not before then, and definitely for the next episode of Batwoman. I'm confusing my female bat superheroes. I'll definitely be back for that. So until then, as always, I leave you saying peace and long life.